So I hope it is visible.
Yes, ma'am, it's visible, ma'am.
Thank you. Yes, very good evening to all of you. And today the topic of discussion or this faculty development program is teaching learning methodology in OBE. Basically, we are focusing more on how we can focus more on outcome-based education, and the whole thing based on the learning outcome that students carries. So the first thing and foremost thing is how we are mapping our curriculum, how we are whatever we are going to teach students, how we are mapping the things with the learning outcome of the course, and in fact the whole study pattern. So let's start with the concept from fundamental to advanced. We are going to understand the objectives and definitions of object-based, outcome-based education. And then we have direct versus indirect methods, how we can assess the students using these methods, obtain maximum out of the teaching material, how we can finally bring the maximum out of whatever we have taught in the classes. And then after that, the third point is the components of outcome based education. Then we'll discuss on the Bloom's taxonomy, how we are going to implement these things in our question banks, etc. And then we have the teaching learning domains. And sixth point is active teaching methodology, instructional design and planning. Faculty members need to design and plan the instructions given by the different faculty members who are going to teach a particular subject. And then we have the continuous improvement and feedback. Then we'll discuss on the best practices, and then finally we'll summarize. So first thing is the fundamental. We are going to cover these skills. First thing is objective and definition, and direct versus indirect methods, components of OBE, Bloom's taxonomy. This is the first part, fundamental part of our outcome-based education. And teaching learning domains and constructive alignment. Within teaching learning domain, I'll discuss the constructive alignment also. So let's first discuss about the objectives and the definition of OBE. Outcome-based education is basically the educational philosophy that places emphasis on the outcome or the result of education rather than input or processes. Usually, or in traditional education, the organizations or the educational institutions focus more on how to deliver the lectures, how the process goes on, what we are going to give to the students, what are the inputs from different. So this is it is based on the outcome based education is based on the belief that education should prepare students for the real world by equipping them with the necessary knowledge, skills, and attitude. Outcome based focuses on the development of competencies, which are the abilities to apply knowledge and skills in different contexts. So it is the contrast to the traditional education model that focuses on the delivery of content and the mastery of the subject matter. So these are the components of outcome-based education. Majorly, we are focusing on the vision and mission of the institution. And it goes from program outcome to the course outcome to the course outcome and the student's learning outcome. Broadly speaking, if we are considering a university, the vision and mission of a university should map with the vision and mission of an institution affiliated from the university. And the vision and mission of the institution should map with the vision and mission of a specific department running under that institution. And now, if this department consists of many programs, all the programs having different visions and missions, and it should map with the vision and mission of the department's vision and mission. So these mapping criteria should very, very closely observed, and there are basic calculations behind. There are certain calculations behind these mapping system. We should understand each and every word given in this vision and mission statement. It should map with the vision and mission of the university. Now let's come to the courses running under program. So the program core of all the programs running worldwide, the program outcomes are categorized into different statements. So nowadays we are having 17 POs. Earlier we were having 12 POs. So each and every course should map with these POs, right? And then under one program, we are having different courses, and these courses have certain outcomes. For example, 3 outcomes, 5 outcomes, or 6 outcomes. We will have this the example of these outcomes also. And then we have the course specific outcomes or competencies. Certain course we can categorize, we can group together in a certain section. So the course specific outcomes should be there, or the course specific outcomes should be mapped with the program outcome along with the course outcome, right? This mapping I'll tell you later on, and how to create the course outcome we'll discuss. And all these things should map with the learning outcomes of a particular student. We will evaluate with the assessment methods. Various direct and indirect methods are there. So we'll have a close look on or calculations on the learning outcomes of a student based on the assessments we have already taken. Okay, so this is a process where the actual learning outcome we can obtain from the pattern we have followed already. So we are going to evaluate whether the vision and mission of the university is mapped with the vision and mission of the institution running under university, and the vision and mission of the institution should map with the department. The department then further should map with the different program outcomes running and standardized on the worldwide level. And after that, we'll discuss about the course outcomes, course specific outcomes, and finally the student learning outcome should be taken. Now let's individually discuss about the components of OBE. The program educational objectives, these are the PEOs, the broad statements about graduate accomplishments a few years after graduation. Whether the student has actually met these objectives of a particular program he has taken. So these are the program educational objectives. Student has taken admission in a certain course, and there is certain a specific objective behind taking admission into a course. After a few years of graduation, whether the student has actually achieved these objectives or fulfilled these objectives or not. And then we have the program outcomes or graduate attributes in certain courses. What students should know and do by graduation specific to their discipline. For example, NBA specifies 12 graduate attributes. Nowadays, NBA specifies 17 graduate attributes for engineering programs. So these 17 attributes should be mapped with each and every course students are learning. And then we have the program specific outcome, the outcome more focused to a particular discipline within a program. And after that, the course outcome, what student can demonstrate at the end of specific course, typically aligned with the POs. So each and everything, each and every component of OBE should be aligned with each other to get the program educational objective. Most important thing is, whatever be the reason behind, whatever be the teaching learning methodology we are acquiring, we should fulfill these objectives at the end of education. Students should be very much through the assessment patterns, whether it is direct assessment pattern or in the indirect assessment method. Different types of methodologies are there, teaching learning methodologies are there. Ultimately, the objectives should be fulfilled. So let's discuss more about the direct versus indirect methods of assessment. Direct assessment method involves evaluating student work or performances that directly demonstrate the achievement of learning outcome. For example, student has given an examination. Now, this is very much direct, that student has given the examination based on the question given in the in the examination, right? Student has attempted these questions and evaluated on the basis of answer he has given, right? So this is a kind of direct assessment. We are evaluating directly through certain criteria. So they provide the tangible evidence of what students know and or can do, whether it is a practical demonstration, whether it is examination. So we have the examples of direct assessment, that exams, quizzes can be there. Based on the responses given in the quizzes, we can evaluate directly. Assignments are also there. Different critical assignment you can create. A critical assignment means you are not directly asking the question, what is this, how it can be performed, and this and that, but we can have some kind of critical assignment. And then the presentations, the seminars and project presentations can also be there. Problem-based learning is also the part of direct assessment. And lab reports, you can assess, you can evaluate using the lab reports, the performance in the lab sessions, and vivas can also be taken during the lab sessions. And the lab report evaluation can also be the direct assessment method. Project and performance assessment are the part of direct assessment. So all these types of assessments are the direct assessments, on the basis of which we can have the learning, we can evaluate the learning outcome of a student. So each and every component of assessment should be mapped with the course outcome of your subject or your course. For example, if I have created one viva question, or 5 or 6 viva questions, or 10 viva questions, each and every viva question should map with one of or two of the course outcomes already specified. Means each and every type of assessment should be mapped with the course outcome. For examination, for end semester examination or end duration examination, or quizzes or assignments or presentation, during the lab reports also, the project presentations, the performance assessment, the viva questions, etc. Each and every component should map with the course outcome, so that this course outcome can can take this learning outcome to the program outcome, right? And then we have the indirect assessment. There are various indirect assessment methods that gather information about students' perception, opinion, or reflection on their learning experiences. See, direct assessment is somewhat closer to the discrete form of assessment, where we have the evaluation pattern based on the tangible inputs given by the student. But here in indirect assessment, the actual outcome, the indirect outcome, we can take from the student's learning pattern. While they don't directly measure outcome, they provide valuable insights and complement direct assessment data. So we are not going to directly measure the outcome. So in indirect methods, we can take reviews, we can have the surveys, different questionnaires, and focus groups can also be created. Exit interviews from the employees, alumni surveys, employer surveys, many things are there. So we will involve each and every stakeholder in these indirect assessment. What is the responses of given by the parents, responses given by the recruitment companies, uh, responses of the student performance given by the internship companies, or the surveys and questionnaires floated to the students, surveys and questionnaires floated to the faculty members, the exit interviews taken by uh, the employees, alumni surveys, because alumni can give you actual program objective outcome, right? So and employer surveys also. So these are all the indirect assessment inputs we can take after the course has already been completed. So we'll sum up these direct and indirect assessment outcomes, and we will finally evaluate whatever we have earlier decided student has achieved or not. So this is the whole process of evaluating whatever you have already defined and wished for and planned for, and what the student actually achieved. So here one most important thing, Bloom's taxonomy, which is very, very essential for outcome-based education. Bloom's has already given certain criteria, certain methods to assess and to ask different types of questions or evaluate your students actually on the basis of these criteria or these terms asked in your questions. So we have 6 different levels. First level is to remember. Starting from the bottom, let's see. First thing is the remember. Remember contains all the recall facts and basic concepts. Starting from this, whether the student has already understood the concept, whether he is able to remember or recall after you have already after attending the class, and how you can evaluate this remember pattern from the student. So define, duplicate, list, memorize, repeat, state. These are certain terminologies, these are certain terms given to ask questions to check or evaluate the remember part. You can ask question, define this. this concept. You can ask duplicate this particular concept. You can ask list all the factors given in this particular concept. So all these things are the terms used to evaluate the remember pattern. And then the next stage, that is understanding. Remembering is one thing. Whether student understood the concept or not, whether he or she can apply this same concept to somewhere else, whether he is able to correlate a particular concept with a different concept. So it explains the ideas and the concepts. So we have certain types like classify, describe, discuss, explain, identify, locate, recognize, report, select, and translate. These are the terms that are able to check whether the student understood the concept or not. And then we have this third level, that is apply. Whatever the concept student already understood in the previous level, now he or she going to apply the concept. Now, in the application part, this information should be used in new situations. Now we have understood the concept, and for example, if the operating system has already created for Android phones, now this operating system we are going to create for the iPhone, right? Student has understood the part and functioning and everything of the operating system. Now he or she will apply it to the new models or new situations, or for new concept, or for new devices, right? So the next terms we are using is execute, implement, solve, use, demonstrate, interpret, operate, schedule, and sketch. So these are some of the terms we can use to check whether the students are able to apply the things on new situations or not. And next is analyze. After applying certain concepts, there should be the analysis should be the outcome of that application. Analysis means whether it is applicable to the new concept or not, whether it is completely different from the earlier concept, whether this particular concept is after modification we can apply to the different situations. So the analysis part is how student will analyze the already applied concepts. So draw connections among ideas, differentiate, organize, relate, compare, contrast, distinguish, examine, experiment, question, test, etc. These are the terms used to assess whether student achieved this particular level or not, whether he or she is able to analyze the situation or not. Now, next thing is to evaluate. Now, after analysis, there should be certain outcome to evaluate the concept. The efficiency, the load balancing feature, the energy consumption, many things are there how we are actually quantify whatever we have already analyzed. To quantify the things, we justify a stand or decision that this thing is applicable to this situation or not. If you are saying this word, if a student is quoting this word, this statement, that this particular concept is not applicable to this situation, then there should certain type of matrices or data to justify the stand or decision. So the terms supporting this particular thing is appraise, argue, defend, judge, select, support, value, critique, and weigh. These are the terms used to assess the evaluate part. And after all the levels, student now is being able to create a new part, new project, new concept, or we should say the new idea. So create part is to produce a new and or original work. Here in project-based learning, we are creating the patents, the research papers, the review papers, and many things. So create part very closely relates with the original work, the production of a new work or the original work. So design, assemble, construct, conjuncture, develop, formulate, author, and investigate, all these terms related to the create part. So Bloom's taxonomy says that each and every concept should be designed, should be very well designed to according to these terms, so that a direct assessment can be taken after the examination. Next is, yes. Next are the teaching learning domain. The images are not very clear, but let's discuss on these things. These are teaching learning domains. There are three different types of domains: the cognitive domain, the affective domain, and the psychomotor domain. So these are three different types of domains which we focuses or we closely relates with the outcome-based education. So first is the cognitive domain, where the knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, evaluation, these all properties comes under cognitive domain. So depending upon the course one have already taken, we understand that all these concepts closely relate to the cognitive part. And then we have the effective domain. It is a very large concept, need to have a separate time for all these things. We can very well closely explain these things. So effective domain says the characterization by the value set, organization, valuing the concepts and the people around you, responding to the whatever one have already asked, receiving the things. All these things comes under the affective domain. And then we have the psychomotor domain. So all the non-discursive communications, skilled movements, physical activities, perceptual, basic fundamental movement, and reflex movement, all these comes under the psychomotor domain. So teaching learning methodology, all these domains affects the teaching learning methodology. And before considering or before opting for a particular teaching learning methodology, we should understand which type of domain you are going to select. And then let's move with active teaching methodology. So in active teaching methodology, we have 6 major segments. First is the project-based learning, the experiential learning, the collaborative learning, or the case studies, simulations, and interactive learning. So first thing is the project-based learning. Project-based learning focuses more on the create part of the Bloom's taxonomy. Project-based learning means the student has already understood the concept, already applied this on the smaller concepts, already analyzes the data, and now he or she is going to create the things using in project-based learning. Certain things he or she understood after creating the project, and certain things are already there in the concepts, theoretical concepts he has already taken. So all the things, when summed up, it gives you the actual direct assessment. And then we have the experiential learning. Experiential learning is student has already experienced the things. These things, these concepts are not understood, or we should say one cannot explain these things before you actually experience it. So, for example, gravity, these are experiential learnings. 3D concepts, these are experiential learnings. You need to specify particularly by demonstrating, practically demonstrating these things. And then we have the collaborative learning, all the group discussion parts, all the managerial skills, each and every project which required more team members. These are all collaborative learning. And then we have the case studies. Case studies means the real time problems one could identify, all the real time scenarios we can find related to a particular concept. These comes under the case studies. So marketing subjects are closely related with the case studies actually going. The finance market is also there. So many things are there. And then we have the simulations. All engineering patterns and engineering parts are related with the simulations. Actual demonstrating the things in the actual environment. These are called the simulations. And then we have the interactive learning. Interactive learning means students are actively participating in the teaching learning process, and they are asking questions, and they are demonstrating the things there, and then they are practically evaluating in the lab sessions. They are practically evaluating the things and asking the questions from the mentor also. So these are the interactive learnings. So here comes the fact that how active learning methodologies actually benefit the student. First thing is the deeper understanding. All these things, if we understood the concept that project-based learning, experiential learning, collaborative learning, case studies, they actually create a deeper understanding of the concept. It enhances the critical thinking also. Critical thinking means in the real-time scenario, if student understood the concept from the previous real-time examples using case studies, if he can understood the concept, so it creates a critical thinking to understand the concept. And then we have the improved problem solving. So there is a problem already persists, and student want to solve that problem using his own project. So we can understand that many real-time projects has already been, many real-time problems has already been solved using during the hackathons. Government organization has already Smart India hackathons are already running. Students are solving the real-time problems in these hackathons. Many organizations are running, already conducting these hackathons. So it always improves the problem solving. Student can identify the problem around them. They can find out the solutions to solve these problems and create a project that actually solve these problems. All these smart wheelchair are the outcome of these Smart India hackathons. And then development of essential skills, definitely when interactive learning is there, when the simulations are there, then when different presentations are also there, the essential skills can be developed. And real world relevance we have already discussed. And the personalized learning can be given during different assessment types. So these are the benefits of active learning methodology. And now next thing is instructional design planning. So how we can plan? So instructional design in outcome-based education focuses more on planning and structuring the learning experience to ensure student achieves specific measurable learning outcome. The learning outcome we have already specified. Now student is going to achieve that specific measurable outcome. Here this word measurable is very important, because we are going to measure these learning outcomes with the help of direct assessment patterns and our indirect methods. To align the content, teaching method and assessments with desired student competencies. So all the teaching methods, all the content we have already created, because I have already told you that each and every lecture, each and every content we are going to teach should map with these learning outcome. And the assessment methods also, the examination, the quiz, etc., all the assessment method, all the assessment components should map with these learning outcomes, with the desired student competencies. And to prioritize what student should be able to do upon the completion of course. So after completing the course, what should student will be able to perform or do. So these are the learning, these are the instructional design and planning tools. We have the learning outcome that leads to the individual's personal growth and motor skill development, knowledge sharing, cognitive skill development, and intellectual skills. There are certain key aspects of instructional design and planning. Defining the learning outcomes, be very, very specific while designing or defining the learning outcome, because we are going to map all the things during the teaching learning process. We are going to map these things with the learning outcome. The learning outcome cannot be a single statement from the course that student is going to learn this particular concept, this particular concept, this particular concept. No. Student is going to actually analyze, apply, and implement and create the outcome from these particular concepts. So while defining the learning outcome, one should be very much specific. And the backward design should be there. We will discuss about the backward design. The constructive alignment should be there. The alignment of each and every course outcome with the program outcome, with the program specific outcome, with the program educational outcome, and after that, the student learning outcome. The mapping of outcomes, the assessment strategies, and continuous improvement should be there. So let's discuss about the last part, that is the continuous improvement and the feedbacks. So the continuous improvement and feedback has 5 major components. Each and every component should be specified with the learning outcome. First thing is self-assessment. So guidance should be given to the student for the self-assessment and the goal proposal. The training should be given by the teacher through the teacher's workshop, and the resource there for to model the rubrics, etc. Rubrics are the bifurcation of marks on the basis of different criteria. For example, I need to give 100 marks, and I'm dividing these 100 marks of a particular course into different components. For example, 30 for the projects, 20 for different thing, 5 for different thing. So these rubric for the assessment should be clearly specified, and a self-assessment form should be there. And after that, the goal setting and plan development. The guidance is goal setting and plan development. The training is teacher workshop, and SMART goals. All the SMART goals can be accomplished, and from the goal setting form we can assess. And then we have the plan implementation, the teacher workshop 4, that collecting the evidences, evidence collection toolkit should be there, artifact cover page should be there, and the collection of evidence form should be there as the outcome of the plan implementation. And after that, the formative assessment and evaluation. All the formative assessment and evaluation can be done in the mid-cycle goals. For example, mid-semester examinations or mid-semester progress report. And during the research work also, we are conducting the phase-wise delivery of the content, or phase-wise presentation of the concept. So all these things are the formative assessment and evaluation. And finally, after applying all the continuous improvement cycle, we are having the summative assessment, summative evaluation, which is the sum up of all the tools we have already gathered throughout the process. So summative evaluation report for teachers and SISP and for the principals also. So summative assessment is the final outcome of the whole session we have already covered, and we will see whether these formative assessment, plan implementation, goal setting, plan development, and self-assessment has carried out very effectively and efficiently or not. And after this summative evaluation, the feedback is very, very important from all the stakeholders. We have already discussed this thing, that the feedback should be taken from all the stakeholders, whether it is from company side or from the employee side or from the exit interviews or from various different sources. The feedback should be there so that in the next session, before creating the self-assessment, one can understand whether there is a need to change in the rubrics or not, whether there need to change in the teaching learning methodology or not. So the feedback of continuous improvement is very, very essential before going to the next cycle, right? So this feedback always gives you an important understanding that the student outcome, student learning outcome mapped or not, right? So let's focus now on the best practices. Case studies I have not included in this, but included in the slide name. But the case studies we'll discuss later on in the next time. But best practices we'll discuss. So for the best practices, let's see precisely what are the essentials for creating these course outcomes, subject to and precisely closely related to a concept or teacher teaching the course, right? So course outcomes are the statement of what students should know, understand, and or be able to demonstrate after the completion of course. So it is somewhat related to the learning outcome, because learning outcome consists of many other things also, but course outcome is one thing that student after the completion of course, student will be able to demonstrate a particular concept or not. So while writing the COs for a course, please remember the following points. The CO must state the major skills, the knowledge, the attitude, or ability that student will acquire after completing this particular course. And COs should be expressed in terms of measurable and observable behavior. So it should be expressed in terms of measurable behavior, means you can quantify this particular concept if you are writing this as one of your CO. And then we have the COs should be agreed upon by the faculty in the program and should drive the program outcome. As we are going to map these course outcomes with the program outcomes. So all COs must be agreed upon with the faculty in a program. For example, if a program are having 100, 200 employees or 200 faculty members having teaching 400 different courses, all the summation of the course outcomes of all the different courses should map with the program outcomes. So all COs must agreed upon by the faculty in the program. And all the courses in the department should have the uniform number of COs. This is very essential because later on we are going to sum up these COs. So all the courses in the department should be in the uniform number. And there should be 4 or 5 COs according to NBA. Different accreditation bodies are there. NACs are there, and NBAs, and ABET is also there. So in general, for NBA, there are 4 to 5 COs. The course outcome should begin with the action verb from the Bloom's taxonomy, as we have already discussed, that all the action verbs given by the Bloom's taxonomy, the course outcome should always begin with these things. And COs must address POs and PSOs. So while writing the COs, the following questions and points must be addressed properly. It should be very specific. Is there a description of precise behavior and situation be performed in? Is it concrete, detailed, focused, and defined? And it is measurable. Can the performance of outcome be observed or measured? Achievable. With a reasonable amount of effort and application, can the outcome be achieved? And it should be relevant and time bound, because we cannot extend the course outcome even after the end of semester. No, it should be time bound. There should certain limit to achieve these course outcomes. These are the action verbs for course outcomes. There are certain division in for these course outcomes. We have low order thinking and high order thinking. Different courses are there. For example, whatever the student already understood in a particular course will be applicable to the course he or she going to learn in the next semester. For example, data structure and advanced data structure. For example, database management system and advanced database management system, and many other courses are there, which the concept of one level course is required for another level course, right? So different types of courses are there, and one needs the low order thinking and other needs the higher order thinking. So remember, in the Bloom's taxonomy, remember, understand, and apply comes under lower order thinking. And after that, analyze, evaluate, and create comes under the higher order of thinking. So these are the action verbs for course outcomes. One should be very specific if he or she going to define the course outcomes for higher order thinking subjects or courses, or the low order thinking subjects. So this is the example sample list of CO's Python programming course. So CO1 is interpret the fundamental Python syntax and semantics, and to be fluent in the use of Python control flow statements. So all this particular CO can be mapped with any of the concept that is related to the control flow statement. Also in CO2, express proficiency in handling of strings and functions. All the concepts after the string and function concept or the topic, all the concept that is actually applicable for these particular things. So Python programming course should consist of this course outcome. And then we have determined the methods to create and manipulate the Python programming by utilizing the data structures like list, dictionaries, tuples, and sets, etc. Student will be able to create and manipulate these Python programs that consist of these concepts of data structures. So here the data structure will be the low order thinking, and we are applying this in Python programming course. It will be in the higher order thinking, right? Identify the commonly used operations involving file systems and regular expression. So against each and every course outcome, the Bloom taxonomy level has already been given. And last one is articulate the object-oriented programming concept, such as encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism are used in Python. So after defining this course outcome, we are going to create the articulation matrix that shows the educational relationship between the course outcome and program outcome for a course. This matrix strongly indicates whether the students are able to achieve the course learning objectives, and matrix can be used for any course in a good way to evaluate a particular course. So this is also an example of data structure and algorithm course outcomes. And this is the articulation matrix that create a map between POs, PSOs, and COs. POs are the program outcome, sorry, and then program specific outcome and course outcome. So if the course, if a particular program outcome is closely related to all the POs, we have not specified. I have skipped this thing that to specify all the POs. POs are the standard ones, standard statements applicable to all engineering courses and other courses. So PO 17, till PO 17 we are having. Earlier it was PO 12. So if one particular PO is completely mapping with one particular CO, then you will give 3 marks. If it is somewhat closely related to this PO, then you will give 2 marks. And otherwise you are going to, if it is very partially mapping with the POs and COs, then you will give 1 mark. And if it is not mapping at all, if it is not matching or satisfying this particular PO, then you will give a dash mark, right? And after that, we'll sum up all these values, and we'll finally find out how much POs are mapping with a particular CO, right? So let's summarize this thing, and the objectives and definition we have given. The direct and indirect methods we have already specified, the components of OBE, the Bloom's taxonomy part, the teaching learning domain, the active learning things are also there. And after that, the design and planning methods are also there. So we have discussed all the things, and now the session is open for question answer.